97.9 The Box.
Good morning,
H-Town. JQ, J-Mac, and Jazz live from the Houston area BMW Center Studios. Got my girl, special guest in the building, Jayla Mache.
Yeah, what's up?
And I'd like to welcome to the show. This is part of our Radio 1 family. He's a DJ. He's an entertainer. He's a community activist. He loves doing stuff for the community. He's a doctor, and we're going to talk about that. He's 50 Cent's official DJ, and adding to his resume, he's the author. Welcome to the show, DJ Kayotik in the building. What's going on, my brother?
That was a warm welcome in the intro, bro.
Yeah, but I'm going to bring you in.
You wrote that down or something?
No, that's off the top, baby.
Oh, man. I like that.
Man, what's been popping with you, man?
Man, staying busy, my brother. I'm blessed and highly favored. I cannot complain. You know, running around with 50 has been pretty chaotic, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like you said, I'm an author now, so just enjoying this ride of just sharing my testimony, sharing my story. And, you know, I tell people now, I didn't write this book to sell books. I wrote this book to save lives. So,
man,
you know,
well, let's talk about it. You know, for the people that may not be familiar with DJ Kayotik, let's go a quick rundown where you're from, your journey from being from Southside Jamaica, Queens, to being in Dallas, to working for our Radio 1 station, to becoming a DJ and all of that.
Yeah, again, I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens, born and raised. 50 and I, or Boo Boo, as I know him, are childhood friends since age 10. My journey that I talk about in my book is a lengthy one, and it's a dark one. From being a child, you know, going through childhood trauma, homelessness, to trying to figure things out, dealing with parents that were addicted to crack cocaine, to ultimately just carving my path and joining the military. And that's kind of how I just stepped away from New York. And then joining the military kind of gave me the structure and the foundation to kind of just become the adult that I was and welcome adulthood. Nonetheless, after that, trials and tribulations, homelessness again in my adult life, ultimately making my way to Dallas. I'm not going to go too much about the book, but, you know, I came to Dallas, became a radio personality. But before that, I was a brand ambassador, party promoter, pretty much did it all.
Yeah.
Self-taught myself to be a DJ while in Dallas. Did morning show, as you said, Radio 1 for a lengthy amount of time, about 15 years. And then in my darkest moment, when I lost my son in 2015, everything changed. My life completely crumbled in front of me. Dealt with suicidal ideologies, depression, you name it. I was going through it. And in 2018, the last person I would ever think to reach for me and bring me up in my darkest moment, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. I became a brand ambassador for Side Spirits. In 2023, I became his official DJ. Wow. And here we are.
Man, and so this book is out now. It's called It Had to Happen, What's a Man Without Legacy? And your son inspired this book. And I know I just recently, a few years ago, because I always would see you post about your son. And, you know, I know some things can be sensitive, and I just wanted to make the right moment. I know we was in front of each other, and you shared with me what happened, and if you could tell the audience what happened with your son.
Absolutely. In 2015, my son was getting ready to graduate from Pittsburgh High School in East Texas. Him and his friends decided to jump into a lake. He jumped into a lake, hit his head on a rock, came back up. His friend tried to hold him. The current took him away. An hour later, they found his body. Wow. Freak accident. You can never imagine something like that ever happening, especially to my son. And he had so much life ahead of him. He had just committed to going to Stephen F. Austin. He was going to be a pharmacist, and he was going to take over for me as being a DJ. I was getting ready to retire. Wow. You know, he was claiming it, like, all the clubs you got, Daddy, they mine. Yeah. And I felt that energy, so I was supportive of that. And again, it shocked my world, it rocked my world, and it was he is the inspiration of me still being a DJ. Yeah. He's the inspiration behind this book. And it took me 10 years to gain the strength to write this book. You know, after he passed, in about the second or third year, I kept saying, I want to write a book, I want to write a book, I want to share my story. I never had the fortitude in me to do it. And then in the 10th year, or approaching the 10th year, God said something to me and said, I need you to pen this book. I need you to share this testimony. It's not for you, it's for somebody else. Yeah,
because people are dealing with similar situations that you've dealt with in some form of faction. Yeah. And just like, I was just talking about this earlier on the air, you know, after reading the book, knowing you're always smiling, you're always happy. I even knew you when apparently this was going on and you never showed that in your face. So I cried. I cried after reading. I had to stop. I cried literally because I'm like, my brother went through this and we had no clue.
You know, I thank God every day I don't look like what I've been through.
Yeah.
You know, I posted a picture of myself just yesterday on the internet. Someone tagged me in a post from Public School 30 when I was in elementary. I was 11 years old. And I posted a picture and I put just a lengthy caption about the book. And I was on a plane yesterday. I literally just started crying because I remember that 11-year-old kid. Yeah. And I remember right then and there the transition, how everything changed from that point. That kid in that picture was smiling. And I carry, like you said, you see me smile, and it's one of those things where it was a point in time where I never wanted to show my brokenness. The reason I wrote this book was I want men and women to understand they can embrace their brokenness and share their testimonies. More importantly, don't hide your pain. You know, I wanted to share this pain to help people know, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and there's something in this book for everybody. Whether you've been homeless, whether you're dealing with grief, whether you're dealing with depression, suicidal ideologies, you name it, it's documented in the book. And like I said, for me, it was more about sharing my testimony to give it a therapeutic approach for people out there that don't know how to maneuver through things. Yeah. Some people shy away from therapy. I talk about my therapeutic journey in there and how therapy didn't fix me, but it put a mirror in front of me and allowed me to reflect on everything that I thought I was doing right and how I had to surrender myself.
Because your life started off with trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading the book and I look at it. Your dad was taking the rent money.
Yeah, taking the rent money.
Your mama ended up stabbing him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the first 4 chapters.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm like, man, it's amazing that you made it this far. And I could never forget, you know, being that you were a morning show DJ, I used to see your quotes all the time. And a lot of times your quotes used to be about God, this and that. And every morning I would wait for your quotes because I knew you were going to have something inspirational.
Yeah.
And at that particular time, I didn't know your story. I didn't know what you were going through until I read the book. And I'm like, oh, my God, this dude is not supposed to be here. And definitely not supposed to be thriving like he is.
J-Mac, I gotta be honest with you. When I started posting so much, it was for me. It was my way of just kind of maneuvering through my grief. And then as you start doing it, and the days that I took off, I thought I was going to take off, God will have somebody reach out and say, where's your post? Where's your post?
I was looking. I was one of those people looking.
I knew at that point it was my assignment. The book itself is part of my assignment, so I'm walking in my purpose now.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the main thing.
Man, make sure you pick up this book. It Had to Happen, What's a Man Without Legacy by Dr. Kareem, DJ Kayotik, Thompson. Make sure you get that book right now. And the foreword is by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. So 50 has written a lot of books and everything. How did he help you in putting this book together?
Well, the thing was, he's written a lot of books, but has never done a foreword for anyone.
Right.
And honestly, I sat down when we was on tour, and I said, Fifth, I need a favor. I said, would you mind writing a foreword for my book? He said, you writing a book? You know, and you know Fifth, he's like, what you writing a book about? I said, my memoir. I said, my life story. And he was like, okay. I said, I want to talk about, you know, how I was homeless. He's like, when were you homeless? And then I broke it down to him exactly when. And then he knows my mother, obviously. He was just like, he looked at me, he was like, yeah, give me the information, I'll write it. And I shared the synopsis with him. He penned it, and I'm forever grateful because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that. That was a brotherly moment, and I appreciated it. But, you know, in the book I talk about it in greater detail that my mother and his grandmother were church members together. Wow. You know, when we were on tour, the final lap tour, when he first brought me on, I shared a picture of Miss Beulah, his grandmother, that he's never seen before, when my mother was at his house in Connecticut.
Wow.
And when he saw the picture of my mom, he's like, that's your mom? He's like, I talked to her like 3 hours at the house. I was like, yeah. He's like, I never knew. So synergy and God's alignment. Yeah. God's alignment. So even me being with him now, it's all alignment.
Man, and I know you can get the book. It's available now on Amazon. Where else can they get the
Barnes
book?
and Nobles. I didn't do, I know we're still doing this ban on Target, so it's not in Target.
Okay.
No, that's right.
But yeah, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, and pretty much anywhere books are sold. So I'm forever grateful for the people out there supporting. And again, I'm not in the business of selling books. I'm in the business of saving lives. So if there's somebody that's going through something, pick up this book, and I'm sure it's going to help them maneuver through life.
Man, I know you said counseling was a big part of helping you. What else, what other things were, in addition to counseling, help you get out the darkness?
My faith. My faith. Honestly, we talked about it, offline. The gym, running was my sanctuary at a point where I just would I would use running to block the noise.
Wow.
And I had to block the noise, the chaos that was going within my head, within my heart, within my spirit. And operating in faith and just walking in my purpose and exercising every day, because I went through a very depressive state when I was 240 pounds. I'm 5'8". I'm not supposed to be 240 pounds.
Yeah.
But I look back at the pictures and I see how depressed I was. I had a routine. I would leave the morning show, go get Popeyes, I would go get the worst meals you could possibly get combined with a shake from Chick-fil-A and sit there and just indulge every day, relentlessly, 5 days, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Depressive.
Yeah.
Not talking to my wife, not talking to my 2 daughters, just disconnected from myself and from everyone. I had to find myself, and it started out with my faith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Man.
The title of the book, It Had to Happen, the first part of it came from my pastor. The day I lost my son the day before Easter Sunday. That Saturday before Easter Sunday.
Wow.
And the only thing I could do after spending the entire day that Saturday looking over his body at the morgue, that Sunday, the only thing I could do is go to church. And when I sat down with my pastor, the first thing he said was, I'm going to say something to you that's going to hurt you, but you'll understand it later on down the line. He said, Dante's job was already done. Yours is not. Certain things have to happen in your life in order for you to get closer to him. It had to happen. And that's where that statement
That's where
stuck
the
with
title
me.
came from.
And that's where the part of the title came from. And then What's a Man Without a Legacy? For me, was about, typically as a father, when you have a son, the legacy is passing the torch, the name. Yeah. And now for me, it's just building, an impact to where people recognize and remember what I've done, what he's done, and what God has done for me.
Wow. Well, I just want to give you your flowers because I see the glory all through you. Your story is so touching, and I feel like mental health, especially in today's time, is so important,
yes.
Especially for the men. A lot of men feel like they have to bottle everything in, and you're showing that it's okay to be vulnerable both ways for men and women. So I just thank you for carrying God's light because it's all over you, and I receive it all, everything that you're saying.
The assignment was to basically be vulnerable and be as transparent as I possibly be, because I know there's people like me that want to walk around and poke their chest out and say, I'm okay, and be Superman or Superwoman. No. I'm pull those layers back. And I don't mind being the token person saying I'm vulnerable. Like I said, I cried yesterday on the plane.
Yeah.
My guy sitting next to me was like, you all right? I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I just saw that 11-year-old son. That self, and it was a reflection. Again, so the grief journey doesn't stop. There's no expiration date. Yeah. I tell people that all the time. So if people tell you you're going to be okay, don't say that. Just, your journey is your journey.
Your journey is your journey. And it's all right to cry.
Absolutely.
It's all right to cry, and it's always...
Man tears.
Yes. And as men, we need to, be able to open up to our male friends and tell them what we got going on, because, I always preach that a lot, even with myself, me learning that lesson of opening up to people that care and love about me to know what I'm going through. It's things people found out about me, and they're like, dog, why you didn't tell me? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why we ask the question now. Like Kayotik hit me just out the blue. Hey, brother, you good?
Very intentional.
And when you're good, he's really asking, no, don't give me like, yeah, I'm straight. No, are you good? Like, what's going on with you mentally? Is everything straight? Even after my mom passed, he check in with me FaceTime. So that means a lot to me.
He just said it, FaceTime. I didn't want to text him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to see his face. I need to lay eyes on him and make sure he's all right.
Yep, because you can tell by looking at somebody.
And the thing is, I know how it is when those phone calls, those text messages stop, when you're going through something. That's when it really gets dark.
Yep.
You get the influx of calls and how you doing, then it ends. And then you start feeling alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are the people still checking on me saying, hey, are you okay? So I talk about that in the book as well.
Man, so go pick up the book. It Had to Happen by DJ Kayotik, man. What's a Man Without Legacy? It's on Amazon. Everybody's on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, the foreword by 50 Cent. So I want you to pick this book up. If you've ever been through anything, man or woman, this will provide some kind of clarity and perhaps some healing, or motivate you with the tools to get to the healing that you need.
Absolutely. And one last thing I want to say, JQ, is for parents out there that have lost a child, which is probably the most unnatural thing you have to deal with, I'm a walking testimony of what it looks like to still maneuver through life after a loss like that.
Man, that's right there.
Yeah.
Right there. He said it out Kayotik's mouth, man. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out, man. This was definitely deep, man. And just to hear you talk about it puts more perspective. Really read this book, man, just to see how somebody can come out the darkness and, be in the light. And it's a constant, it's work every day. You got to do his work every day. It's a day-to-day thing, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us,
my brother. Thank you.
It's going down right here on 97.9 The Box.
Good morning, H-Town.